Hey, listen, this is great. I'm so excited for this young woman to be here tonight. Terri Traen's radio career began in 1979 with small-town shifts in Wisconsin and Minnesota, where her dedication once had her sleeping on the studio floor during storms to keep her community informed. In 1986, I remember this, she joined KQRS-FM and soon became, of course, a key part of the legendary KQ Morning Show, where she spent more than 30 years, God bless you, alongside Tom Bernard. Oh, Tommy. And an unforgettable team of broadcasters, I kid. Known for her humor, grit, and loyalty, Terri helped shape one of Minnesota's most iconic radio shows. She will now be gracing the wall as a Minnesota Broadcasters Hall of Fame, Terri Traen.
One of the qualifications of being Hall of Fame is, impact to Minnesota broadcasting. What do you think Terri's impact is, if you had to sum it up on what her impact was in this wall up here to your
Well,
right
I mean, I'll tell you this. How many you got on the wall?
Oh, there's a couple hundred up there.
You have a couple hundred on the wall. None of them were more entertaining than she was on morning radio, or a lot of them did stuff at night. I mean, she entertained without even knowing or trying. She entertained people.
Authorities say the man stood up and took his clothes off during the flight from Houston to Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport.
Wait.
What?
You know what the authorities said?
In Dallas?
Leave him alone. We can see he's nuts. His
No,
nuts.
We'll leave you alone because we can see your nuts.
Yeah.
Get the line.
You may not use the word "that was a gem," but that was a gem.
She has a gift from God. She can be herself in front of a microphone. A lot of people can't. A lot of people try way too hard to do it. But for her, it just comes naturally.
Terri's very busy getting ready for another show. Nobody does more show prep than Terri. Now, Terri, what are you working on next week? Got a lot of guests lined up as usual?
But actually, I was just Googling pictures of my new puppy that's supposed to be coming on.
The comedic timing she has is natural without trying. Think about your favorite sitcom, whether, Seinfeld, Big Bang Theory. They had half a dozen or more writers. And I guarantee you, there were days when listeners laughed as hard or harder to things that Terri would say as they did to all of these great written sitcoms.
Some of the silliest things, an interview with a guy that went off on a tangent about Loch Ness, Meanwhile, he was supposed to be on a completely different subject.
It turned my boat about 100 degrees. There were several sightings while I was there, but we never did get close enough to get a good photograph.
Terri, what was that other thing you were going to ask him?
Wow. Ask him the question.
Even you had to shut your mouth.
Us trying not to laugh in the background. It was almost like a Carol Burnett skit. And the harder we tried, the worse it got.
The best interviews were the ones when Terri was booking the guests, because they were all on the fringe of something. She just had guests that were out there, and they were entertaining. I mean, okay, somebody who writes a book about their business book, who cares? It's the one who talked to aliens.
I don't know any different, because she's always just been my mom. My mom had a cool job, but we didn't know until I got to be maybe in my teens that she was kind of a big deal. She didn't care about the recognition from KQ. She cared about her listeners and her following and the people that cared about her. And I wanted people to know that.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that moment with you and
Terri Traen.
Terri Traen kissing will be erased.
The people that were along the journey with her in her career, and she looks back at it with positive memories despite a lot of the negative aspects of it, and I'm so proud of her for that. And that's what I wanted people to know, that Terri Traen's a mom, a friend, an incredible human being that loves radio.
Wearing these because it's the only ones I have, and I need them, otherwise I wouldn't be able to see.
Sure, he's kind of cool. You can tell that already.
It's Tom Bernard and the KQ Morning Show. And without him, there would not have been the morning show. But without her, it would not have become the morning show that it was. Terri was not a second banana. If anything, she was the banana peel, and she would slip on it herself, and that's what made the show so funny at times.
She's really her, and that's what makes it even better, because there's no faking it. The last thing people like is somebody who really fakes it.
There was a brilliance there that she never even came close to realizing. This is what a lot of people who are successful, they don't believe it. If you told her she was iconic and what she did would be legendary, she would never get it and understand how good she was. When you take a step back in time, I think the entire show was magical, and a lot of the magic was what she was able to infuse into it. Whether she was trying or not, it was just natural.
I think you have great jokes, yeah, so.
Okay, what's a Shih Tzu?
Do you know?
It's a dog, right?
A zoo with no animals.
Get it? A shit?
Oh, I'm just proud of her. If she still doesn't think she deserves it, that is just not who she is. I just hope that she realizes how loved she is, not only by her family, but by her fan club, by coworkers, and that she recognizes that her career was incredible, and she paved the path for others to come along the way.
Please welcome to the stage 2025 Minnesota Broadcasters Hall of Fame inductee, Terri Traen.
Well, I guess I don't need to say anything. I really can't believe that I'm up here. Honestly, when I got the call from Tom Osmond, I was like, what? I was in shock. I think I was out feeding the horse or something, and we rescued a horse, and she was a bag of bones, and she's up 1,000 pounds now, and she was like 20 minutes from getting shipped to Mexico for dog food, and she's happy as a lark. So if you ever come out to the orchard, I named her after our daughter, Abby. Abby didn't gain 1,000, but okay. I wrote a speech, and he told me not to tell this, but I sent it to Jeff Passolt to edit it down. And he whittled it down to nothing, so you're lucky. I have like a 1.5-minute speech here. He did tell me to really razz you, Louie, and I'm like, I better not. As I said, I'm honored to receive this award. I can't really believe it. I never felt like I was a part of this group. I felt like I was a Delano girl that got really lucky to get on a radio show. First of all, I worked in Buffalo, Minnesota. Mike Quady's here. We had so much fun working in small market radio, and I would never have left, but I kind of had to. And my aunt was the business manager at KQ, and she's like, Terri, there's an opening for midnight to 4 a.m. on Saturdays. You should send in a tape. And I'm like, I'll never get a job in the cities. Are you kidding? And I was kind of desperate, so Mike and I snuck into the station and recorded a demo tape, and our boss caught me, but I don't think he really cared, because I think he was ready for me to go. So I ended up getting the job, and I hadn't met Dave Hamilton, who was like a hero to me. Dave Hamilton was the program director at KQ, and he was such a brilliant man. He put together this hodgepodge of misfits on this morning show, and he would agitate. You know, he was the puppet master of the morning show. And Dave was really, really smart, and he didn't like to mingle with the bigwigs. And he was so sophomoric, if I would be walking through a doorway, he would run so we would jam in it together. And we'd be stuck in the doorway. And I mean, he would always make me laugh. And I really missed him. I wish he was here. over the years, I worked with, like I said, all these talented people, Tom, Bob, Jeff, I'll forget people, but all of them were just so talented, and sometimes I get so mad, and yet you'd always end up laughing at the end. So I was lucky to have the bosses that encouraged me. I worked at the A&W in Delano, which is now the Peppermint Twist, and my boss, Harold Nelson, used to call me Mrs. WCCO when he found out I was going to Brown Institute for Radio. He's like, "You're gonna do it, Terri. You're gonna do it." And I just thought, yeah, I'll never work in the cities, never. The guests that I booked on the morning show, we had a lot of celebrities. Like every time I turn on the TV, it's like, oh yeah, I talk to them. But my favorites were the weirdos, the oddball interviews, and the ones that went wrong were always, to me, the best. We interviewed a woman once who was a mentalist. She billed herself as a trivia expert. She could not be stumped. So I'm like, we got to book her. I mean, how fun. So we get her on, and she didn't know one answer to one question. Every single answer was wrong. And then when Tom made a comment to her, she kind of turned mean, and she's like, "Who's this dork?" And then that kind of ended the interview. She was done. Then we had another guy, the guy that on the tape here, he sold everything he owned to build a submarine to go look for the Loch Ness Monster. So I called, Dave found the guy in the Los Angeles Times, so I called the reporter, and he goes, "I'll only give you his number if you don't make fun of him." So I'm like, okay, I'll tell him we cannot make fun of him. So he gets on, and I'm like, you guys, we can't make fun of him. So I knew it was going to happen, though. So he gets down there, and he's talking about, what did he see? And he's like, well, he kind of mumbled, and he's like, "I got down there, and I think we saw Nessie." And I'm like, we're like, "Well, what did you see?" And he goes, "Well, I can't be sure. I got caught up in my own prop wash." So that ended that. But we were all laughing. You heard it. We were laughing. We couldn't even talk. But I didn't want to hurt his feelings, so none of us talked because we didn't want to laugh at him. Then we were hung up on by the best in the business. Raquel Welch hung up on us. Andy Rooney hung up on us. UFO abductee Whitley Strieber, who wrote a book about being abducted by UFOs, suddenly wasn't sure if he was abducted. So he kind of got into an argument about it. He said he was in a room, but he wasn't sure really what happened. And it's like, well, you wrote a book. You might want to get it straight. Years ago, my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, Germaine Powell, my sister called her Geranium, she told us that the F on license plates meant drunk driver. So I was driving the kids to religion one night, and I'm like, "Look, kids, there's a drunk driver. Look at that." And he was driving this old truck with a topper on it, and he didn't look like a drunk driver. So the next day on the radio, I said, the F on a license plate means drunk driver. All of a sudden, the phone's lit up. Tom goes, "What did you say?" I'm like, "I don't know, nothing." Turns out that the F on a license plate means firefighter. I still hear about that one. We interviewed Bob Ballard. He was the guy who discovered the Titanic, and I misspoke, and I asked him if he ever looked for the F. Scott Fitzgerald. I meant Edmund Fitzgerald, but it made the stupidest things ever said calendar for that year. So I'm kind of proud of it. Nowadays, my family runs Loose Line Orchard in Watertown. It's on the State Loose Line Trail, which runs from, thank you, it runs from Golden Valley out to Cosmos, Minnesota, and we have a vineyard, which sounds really romantic, but we really don't do anything with the grapes. They just look pretty, and they're on the trail. We planted 10,000 trees, my husband Rich and I, and our family and friends, while we both held our full-time jobs, and we planted about 6 acres of grapes. My husband Rich, as I mentioned, my kids Reed, Abby, Paige isn't here because she's getting the orchard ready for tomorrow morning when we open, and their spouses Katie, Ryan, and Matt. Our grandson's Onion. Onion, stand up. His name is Owen. He's 13. He loves baseball, football, and basketball. He's a 3-sport athlete, Louie. How about that? nowadays, that's, small town though, Rockford. And also our other grandson, Walter, we call him Walnut, and Emmett is Helmet. And they all play sports, which I love. So the orchard to us is a dream come true. It really is. Rich and I worked our whole lives and saved every dime that we could to buy our own farm. And the way it came to be an orchard is incredible. And if we don't end up killing each other someday, arguing, it'll really be a dream come true. My son-in-law, if you're in our family, you have to work at the orchard. So my son-in-law, Ryan, to quote him, he said, "My next in-laws are going to be accountants." And as an apple expert, I'll wrap it up with this joke. What's worse than finding a worm in your apple? Finding half a worm. Good night. Try the veal. Hi-yo.